people like job titles like, oh, I'm a UI/UX designer, I'm a product designer. So I would like to get your views on this. Are there, I know most of us here are UI/UX designers, right? But I'd just like to get your view on this. Are there, are these job, are they similar? Are they like completely the same thing? Do they have similarities, or like do they have differences? Um, are they different? Just share your views on this. If I say I'm a UI/UX designer, does it mean I'm also a product designer?
Okay, thank you for that question. I would like to say a product designer and a user experience designer, they're like closely related terms if we want to look at them from the aspect of um these roles. They like go from, we think about it like from functionality. They both think of functionality, building aesthetic products, and all this kind of stuff. But then what I would say would distinct a product designer from a user experience designer is, user experience designer would usually focus more on the user side. They would, it's like a user-centered, user experience designers are usually user-centered designers. That's why I mentioned earlier that these terms are usually used interchangeably. But I believe product designer would look more on the business side of things and try to like make sense of how you can match users users needs with the business goals. A user experience designer would usually focus more on the user, and product designer would look at the business side of things. How can we improve this product? How can we improve our brand? What kind of, how are we speaking to our users? How are we creating products in line with our business goals? And how do they solve users' problems? So that's what I would say distinct.
Interesting, interesting. So for, by now, I think most of us here should already like. I'm sure you're getting a hang of these things. According to Coin Solar, a product designer is different from a UI, although they have similarities, right? But like there are two different things you mentioned, right? The UI/UX designer is user centered, while the product. So I get the gist. So thank you for thank you for sharing that, Coin Solar. So let's move to Hani. Hani, what is, from, you're a front-end developer. So I would like you to share light on front-end development. What is front-end development all about? And first of, what made you even go into front-end development? Please share that with us, Hani.
All right. Okay. So, thank you very much. So, just for the sake of this whole DDS thing, all right, I think I should just explain what it means by development, all right? Because there's no software development without a developer to begin with. So generally, though I won't try to bore you down with so many things there and all that. Well, can you guys hear me, please? Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear
Yeah, we can
you.
hear you. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So as I was saying, as a software developer, or rather as a developer is being uses touch into different, you know, different sections. It says like we have the front end developer, we have the back end developer, we have the DevOps, we have the mobile devs and all of those things. So they actually stretched out in a whole single format. And you might not know what you're referring to when you say that, oh, you need a developer to actually do some of those things. So they're actually different developers for different things entirely. So though I'm a full stack, which is full stack is now the one that does back end, front end, DevOps all together majorly, right? So, but just to answer the question, right? So basically I'm front end heavy in the sense that I do more front end development, and front end development is how will I put this to you now? It's let's just say it's the development of the user interfaces. of, when you have a product or you have a design, or let me just say that you see any software thing there, it just could be a product. It could be like your Microsoft Word, it could be a website, it could be any sort of interfaces. They are being built by front-end developers with using any kind of stacks to build these things. So front-end developers actually work with the designers most of the time, but they also work with the product managers. But majorly what they do is they build interfaces with code and different stacks. That is the main let's say background of front-end development. And to answer the other question, why I went into front-end development, right? So I've always been something for me is like I've always wanted to be in a position whereby I could add value. I always wanted to solve problems. During my days back in school, even it's not like I am that good, but even the little that I read, the little that I learn during, during what I call it, during exam periods, I do like, do free tutorials for my course mates and some other people who have actually would benefit from what I would teach. So I always find myself in such positions, trying to fix something, try to solve problems, trying to do all of those things. And I don't know, I would never relax until I probably can solve the worst problem. So I think I thought about software development, which actually would help me to solve more problems. So that's just it for me. And I really love creating, beautiful design interfaces and all of those things. So basically that's for me.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing light on the question I asked you about front end development. From now, most of us should understand that. Before we go ahead, I want to be sure that our audience is gaining and listening from this. If you understood what they shared, like about their different roles, about what they do, can you kindly drop the letter Y in the message section? So I'll be sure that we all are following, that we're not just listening, but we're like hearing and all of, sorry, we're not just hearing, but we're actually listening and all of that. So, okay, I can see people dropping why. It seems we understand now what it's all about. So thank you so much, Hani, about that. So our first question is, and I think I will throw this to Coin Solar, and then the other panelists can share their views about this. But first, what do you think are the biggest challenges in fostering collaboration between designers, developers, and product managers? But first of all, I'd like to get your opinion. Obviously, there's in these three fields, they get to work together a lot, right? So so do you think collaboration is a necessity with people working across these fields? I'll just like to get your answer on that first before you dive into like the challenges and all.
Okay, collaboration is definitely 100% a necessity among these roles, because if you look at a product from conceptualization, from being just a concept to being an actual product that people interact with, it's not really a joke. It's not a joke thing, because when an organization, for instance, when we're trying to build product, it's not a straightforward process. It involves the designers, the developers, even the marketers to the product manager. So it's definitely a necessity. For you to have a successful product, there needs to be a smooth communication and all these things among these roles. So it's essential.
Okay. Okay, thank you for sharing that. So back over to moving to the next question I asked you about the challenges. What do you think are the biggest challenges in fostering collaboration between designers, developers, and product managers? Among you three now like this, what are the challenges that might hinder collaboration in this?
Okay. One of the biggest, am I supposed to answer or is it somebody else?
You can answer, and then the Hani and Collins will get to share their facts. If they agree with you, they'll share their views. If they disagree with you, then fine. We get to hear different opinions. Yeah.
Okay, finally, what I personally think is the biggest barrier to collaboration is our difference in approach. like we see designers, we see developers and product managers. The way product managers, sorry, would approach, there's a divergence in perspectives. Like when you see a product designer, for instance, we're constantly trying to build product that would definitely help users. And when we like list features to product managers, for instance, or the team that we're working with, it will most likely be that okay, a dev is having issue with a particular feature or it's not something they can do for now. So there's difference in the way we approach our problem. We are all trying to solve a problem. Like each role is definitely trying to solve a problem and accomplish a goal. But there's difference in our approach. We we would usually start from research and the developers would start with their own thing. So there's difference in approach. Also, there is this lack of communication. Another barrier to collaboration will be lack of communication. There are cases where designers would be trying to like do their thing. They would just want to be in their own space, in their own head of, oh, I'm trying to solve a problem for a user. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. And they are not constantly communicating with the team that they are working with. So inadequate communication channel can definitely hinder communication, collaboration, and alignment of the team. That's what I would add for now. Yeah. I don't think she's here anymore. Can you guys hear me? Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you. I'm actually waiting for her to come up.
Okay,
Yeah, I can hear you.
I
Well,
don't
I
think
think in the case that Publisher has network issue, I think Collins, if you want to go ahead, you can go ahead. So let's just keep
yeah,
to it.
definitely.
Okay, so I think some of the things Kenisola said is actually perfect, coming from a designer perspective. And for me, being a product manager, um, one thing I've actually experienced is ineffective communication, or actually people getting to communicate effectively. There's a thing about communicating and also getting to do it effectively. I have discovered that certain people don't actually know how to deliver instructions, and when they deliver instructions, there's this lack of clarity. You get me? So I have always tried my best to make sure that when I'm actually passing out deliverables or communicating with my devs or set of designers, I get to spell out what is needed as clearly as possible. You get me? You actually get to see situations where people get to assume what the customer wants rather than what is actually needed. You get me? So rather than we just giving vague instructions or giving vague informations, we should actually try our best to make sure that we communicate in clear terms and we get important personnel that actually um, are part of whatsoever we are building. We get to spell out the deliverables as clearly as possible so that the whole concept or vision is actually passed across to everybody and the common goal is achieved. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay. Well, that's a nice one. That's a nice one. But so generally my take on this is just um I think we've all said it all, actually. I think we've all said it all in the sense by we're trying to communicate differently, we're having different issues at hand, we're trying to solve different issues. But generally for me, it's just I don't know, but however, whenever there is work or whenever there is a problem to solve, it needs to be communicated. While I was growing, like while I started, programming early, I prefer like trying to solve my problems all by myself and come out and say, okay, I've solved the problem after so many hours, and now say, okay, this is now done, and all of those things, which in other words, take out the time needed to complete a certain task. It's not productive, but it's quite okay. So I have also had to learn that, okay, that's not the right way to do things. The right way to do things, if you're having issues, call up your teammates, talk to people, and, no, we can't hear you, Pexels. Can't hear you. So the right way to do it is like, no one man is an island. Even the person who actually thinks he knows it all does still really not know it. So whenever you have issues, always try to reach out to your designers, reach out to other people. Just sharing some light, sharing logic would actually help you, solve the problems. But generally, that's it for me. I don't know. Colleagues or Councilor, do you guys have the next question? Something? Okay, Peter, say you could drop the questions in the chat. So,
Definitely, you can. I would address it from the chat.
okay, that'll be fine then. Plexus, I think you need to go off and come back again. It won't take us out. Try that.
Okay. How can communication be improved between these three groups? Basically, communication is, I feel like communication means different things in different organizations. So you need to understand what communication is in your organization before you can even say that I want to try to improve communication among my team members. But to improve communication and then strengthening collaboration, some of the things you can do is try to implement regular meetings, stand-ups, breakout sessions, check-ins on everybody, just to know that designers are in alignment with product managers and product managers are in alignment with designers, and developers are not doing their own thing when designers are doing their own thing. So there should be regular, while there is an in designers can have their own meetings where they like talk and then try to solve problems and do their own thing. But I still feel like there should be a general meeting for everybody on the team to come together and then speak so that we understand that we are still on the same page here and we're still a team in the end, because we are all trying to solve problem, we're all trying to like get the organization to a certain level or to a goal. There's something we're definitely trying to meet when we're trying to solve a problem. So another thing that I've discovered that would definitely strengthen collaboration is to encourage an empathetic and understanding environment. You need to understand the process it takes to take design from research to being a design or being something that will be functional and usable. Product managers need to like try to understand that there are process to this thing, understand the process it takes, and try to be as empathetic as possible and understanding that this thing takes process and it takes time. And designers also need to like try to understand that everybody's on the same page. There is nobody that is alone in the end. Like we're all trying to like achieve the same goal. So if your developers are saying that this is how they feel like this would work, you should be open to changes. You should not say, oh, it's my design, I worked a lot on it, or I did this, I did. Of course, we're not trying to like hinder the fact that designers are trying to solve users' problem, and we've done our research. Yes, we can really be all crazy over, oh, I understand what I'm doing. We understand what we're doing. We are designers. We have spoken to users. We have done our research. We have everything in place. But then you need to be really open-minded. You might get the best idea from a developer. You might get, like at this point in my career, I have gotten solid advice from developers and product managers, even marketers, that you would necessarily not consider. So you should definitely be empathetic towards the process of each team in um also it's you should try to like clarify the roles of each person. I mean, it's already defined by saying I'm a developer, I'm supposed to implement designers designs. But yeah, it's still good to like clarify the roles and responsibility of each team in the organization. Also, you should try to like have an open communication. Like there should be a room for feedback. Try to get feedbacks. Like designers, I'm sure you people know that we feed on feedbacks. You don't get too emotionally attached to your design that you would say that I worked hours on that design. I'm not going to entertain any changes. There's nothing like that in design, honestly. You are constantly feeding on feedbacks. That sounds like well, yeah, you're constantly feeding on feedbacks you get from everybody on the team. So encourage a very good feedback culture. So I'll just allow other panelists to like add to the few things I've said.
Okay, Sola, I think you actually hit on some of these things. So, for me particularly, what I've actually experienced is I, as a product manager, if there's something I'm actually tried not to do is actually overstep my boundaries. In as much as I'm a product manager and I have knowledge of design or development and some other technical stuff, I still have to respect the boundary that I occupy in a software development team. So, what do I mean by this? Certain times you would get to see a design made by a designer, and I would have to communicate properly to actually tell them why they're actually making certain decisions or why they're actually making certain decisions. So, for example, a designer made a design and the login or sign up button is at the center of the page, and I actually wanted it to be at the top right. So, instead of me saying, I don't like where it is, I should rather say, please, can you tell me the reason why you placed the sign up button at the center of this page? Get me? Because I particularly am a product manager and I should actually give room for the specialist or the designer that is actually specialized to do that task to play their role and actually do their job based on who they are. You get me? So as a product manager, I should actually get to respect their views. I think there's actually one clash that we used to have, and I've tried my best to actually respect that. So, sorry. So, I should try my best to actually respect that. So, if I see a design, I want it somewhere else. A designer placed it somewhere else, rather than saying, Solar, I don't like it where you placed it. I rather ask, Solar, please, can you tell me the reason why you actually placed this here, or what's actually in your mind why you placed this here? With this, I've
100%.
actually
That's better. Yes.
yes. So with this, I've actually created a platform where I get to hear my designers express themselves and I get to actually know the motives. So we're actually just creating room for empathy. You get me? So one of the key roles to establish great collaboration and communication within teammates is actually listening to them. You get me? I'm a product manager. I need to exist as a product manager. I shouldn't exist as a software developer. I shouldn't exist as a product designer. I should just stay within my role and get to act within my role. So for the development team, I think that's actually one of the toughest team I've had to manage in the past. So what have I done with them? I I have always made sure I establish this sort of communication outside the workspace with my developers. I think these have actually helped me establish great projects because if you don't have this personal relationship with your developers, you cannot be able to um, inspire them to do a job. You get me? For them to do a job for you without feeling distressed, they need to be inspired by your leadership. They need to get to see things from the way you see them. You get if you are not able to establish this, there'll be this disconnect. You get me? So developers outside the workspace, I get to talk to them we communicate frequently so that I would bridge this gap. Like there should be no Oga and worker relationship. No, it should be my guy connection. You get me? Like this, they'll be indebted to me as my as friends, and they will know that they need to deliver this for me because if they deliver this for me, it's actually going to be helpful for my career and also going to be helpful for their career. But if there's this Oga boy relationship, there'll be this disconnect. No matter what happens in the product, they're not going to sack the developer. It's actually the product manager that is not effective because a product fails, a product succeed is on the product manager. The client doesn't know who the developers are. So for me, these are actually some of the key ways to improve on collaboration and communication with the team of designers and developers. Thank you. So Hani, are you there?
Oh yeah. Okay. So, I think you guys have actually said the most important ones, and if I just had any few to it, like I said earlier on, about me myself trying to solve by myself, whereby I'm in a team of like even if it's just a team of two people, and I have other people, you're supposed to reach out, so to save time. The best thing about working in team is that you need to be very productive. You need to be resourceful. One man is not your island. So even if you are saying you're a baby or developer, as what I would call myself, or you're a junior developer or a senior dev or whatsoever, you don't have to take so much time trying to solve a problem. Reach out so people can actually reach out to you. And also, you should always like well, if actually Collins hasn't added it, I would have said that every product designer has to, always have this, this communication, this linking up with your developer. It's really, really good help. It's really good help because most of the time you need to understand them. And, I wouldn't say that, the development is quite hard. It's just quite demanding and it's a lot taxing. And so many times people actually tend to, fall out of, timelines and all of those things. So it's very, very important. So also I would also want to add that it is very, very important for there to be stand up. When there is stand up, when there is stand up, people would actually be able to come across boards and say, okay, this is what I've done, this is what I've did, this is why I'm having a blocker, and all of those things. So yeah, that's my addition to what you've said. You share example of successful collaboration involved in. Okay, so now let me get. So there's a new question. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Pexels has asked a question asking about me to share an example of a successful collaboration in any project I've worked on.
I
All
think
right,
that
so
question is directed towards you.
towards you, my name is
You.
stacked. Yeah, I'm answering. That's what I'm
Okay.
saying. Okay, so okay, for me, I've actually really worked with startups company a lot. I've worked with about not like a lot though, about two, three, four startup. Some of them are free, some of them are paid, and all of those things. So and most of the time, let me say, I'm fortunately always added to the team. I never start like I barely start with the team, and all of those things. For me as a developer, right? I don't know how it's going to be for you guys as designers, but I think it's the same format. So you know that for every new page or for every UI, for everything that you want to build new, components has been built already. So just like your Figma design, whereby you already have your colors down, you already have so many of those things actually built down, and you want to build your own interfaces that because you're coming into a team, right? You don't need to go 10 house to go figure out these things. You want to find a particular place to start writing your code. You don't need to use 2 hours to figure this out. You just need to call out to people. I was actually doing that, thinking I would be great and somebody would owe me at the end of the day. But I noticed that I spent a whole lot of time trying to solve problems rather than just coming to people and say that, yo, this is where it is. This is how it is. This is how we use it. That's how it is. And you guys learn and you guys work forward. And instead of using 10 hours to solve a problem, then now using more hours to now write the code. we've actually wasted a lot of time. So that's one thing. And when we do stand up and all of these things, we're able to discuss about blocker, what you're having issues with, and all of those things. So yeah, these are ways I actually, up myself. So I think you guys can actually get that. All right. So that's it for me. You guys actually know
All
something.
right. Coinsar, do you want to add anything?
Okay, if I'm to share an example of a successful collaboration in any project, it would be basically an example would be when the product is successful, definitely. But then it depends. Success would depend on different things, and collaboration and good communication can definitely help to like foster every successful product. So a time I would say I communicated clearly and try to understand the approach of these different team members. I like it's important to understand the input of each and every role. So a time when you allow everybody to thrive in their own particular role will be a successful time for me, and the product was successful and everybody's fine, even though it was a freelance. So that would be it for me. Collins, do you want to add to that?
Okay, okay. Particularly, I'm not actually allowed to actually speak on projects because it's still some of the contracts. So, for me personally, I think one of the projects I've actually worked on is actually the one I actually worked on during an internship in HNG, which is a core transcription and sentiment analysis tool. I think that project was like super amazing because it's actually some of the one of the projects I used to kickstart my product management journey. Okay, it's we actually leveraged on AI too. Like you could record that when you making calls to MTN, you could hear stuff like for quality assurance purposes, this call may be monitored. So sort of those calls are actually going to be sent to the products we built. So when those call records are sent to the products we built, we'll give the we'll convert it from audio to text. Then after converting from audio to text, we are going to actually give a sentiment analysis, which is we are going to tell if the agent is rude or if the agent is neutral. And we're also going to be highlighting some of the keywords in their conversation. So actually, we built this product, and the sweetest part of that is that we built this within 3 months, and we also get to demo it within some big companies like Waka now and some other travel agencies. You get me? So that was actually one of the key products I've actually built, like within the short time I've been a product manager, and it was really tough. It was really tough because it was super fast paced. Like some people were taken off. Some people were heartbroken. Like it was emotionally challenging, but all thanks to God, we were able to deliver it. And I could actually tag that as a successful product because it was really the peak for me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing, guys. So our next question would be, how can designers, developers, and product managers better understand each other roles and responsibilities just to enhance collaboration? I don't know if Collins would want to go first.
Okay, thank you very much. In particularly, I would actually say this. I actually love giving specifics to this. Even in any team, I'm actually a product manager. I always tell my developers to remain developers. I always tell my designers to remain designers. I always tell my other team of product managers to please remain the team of product managers. Please let's not cross our boundaries. Let's not tell a product designer what a product designer should do. We should only empathize with them and actually suggest, not impose. You get me? We should only suggest and not impose on our developers. If we want to pass any information, we should actually let them see from our own eye view. We should not just bring things out from the air and tell them to do it. By that, you're actually making the whole work place for them chaotic. And for a product to be delivered successfully, everybody needs to key into your vision, and the vision should be spelled out in their head also. Like, there's nothing as super easy as working in a team that everybody knows what is in your mind. When everybody knows what is in your mind, they wouldn't see you like you are controlling them. But if you're not able to spell those things out and make everybody know what is in your mind, when you're giving them instructions, it is like you're controlling them. But truly, you actually want the best for the products, but they're not saying it like you want the best for the products. They're seeing it like a toxic person. They're seeing it like you are somebody that is actually imposing yourself on others. So for we to establish a good collaboration between all these set of people, we need to say this is where your role starts, this is where your role ends, this is where your role starts, this is where your role ends. And when you want to communicate, you should communicate with empathy, you should communicate with clarity, and you should also communicate knowing that the person you are speaking to, you're actually coming into their area of expertise, and you should respect their area of expertise. You're only suggesting, you're not actually instructing them on what to do. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So they should just instruct and maintain their own lane. Do what you know how to do best and don't try to control other people. All right, no problem. Coin Solar, can you share us your own opinion?
Okay, I definitely 100% agree with Collins. There are situations where product managers can mistakenly
Sorry,
come
can you
across like, okay, yes, we can hear you, Pexels.
repeat?
Okay, there are cases when product managers can come across like they are controlling or they're trying to tell you how to like perform in your roles. And honestly, I don't want to say that it's not like that's their intention. Like everybody is trying to see how they can thrive in their role and how they can build a successful product. But in the end, I would just say that let everybody maintain their lanes, honestly. If you want to, developers should not try to tell designers how to solve a problem. Your job is to implement designs, see how it can be functional and how users can use it. My job as a designer is to help developers, basically make developers life easy by giving them the designs and help them with implementation and see that your designs are successfully implemented and well implemented. So do not try to tell designers that a feature or something they are doing it's not like before you even communicate the fact that before you communicate the fact that something might not work or a design you're doing might not work, they should have been. That's why I always encourage a team. Like if I'm in a team, I always encourage everybody to be on the, like when we're researching, when designers are researching, I want developers to understand the research side of the design so that they understand the importance of that particular feature. So they won't be quick to like discard a feature just because it might be hard to implement or it's not something that they can like quickly implement. So allow everybody on the team be on the research side. Let them understand the importance of each feature in a design, so that it won't be like developers are saying, no, we don't think we can do that for now. We can do that in version 2 or version 3 of the product when it is actually something that we're trying to like. So everybody should be on the same page basically and maintain their lanes and just work together and be empathetic. Try to understand that their process to building a product, and each role have to like um follow their own process and understand that they can thrive in their roles, basically. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Queen Sola, for that. First off, can you guys hear me clearly now?
Definitely, I can hear you.
Okay, okay, that's a relief. I apologize for being silent earlier. I could hear you guys, but for some reason you guys couldn't hear me. So that's why I had to type out the questions. So thank you for carrying on like with the whole session, even though I wasn't here. I appreciate that. So the next question we would have is, because from what you've shared with us so far, there are different gaps, right? Between product designers, developers, and product managers. So this particular question will be for Collins. What are some effective techniques for bridging the gap between design, development, and product management? What techniques do you think can help in bridging the gap between these roles? Collins, did you get that?
Yes, yes. I'm sorry, please. Okay. So particularly, I think it's very important that I okay. In the past, I've actually noticed this because you get designers that their design were not actually implemented at the long run, and they get pissed off. Why? Because they felt like they've actually spent the whole night working on this design, and it ended up not being live for certain reasons, and you would see how disappointed they are. So situations like this, I think that's where prioritization comes in. Certain times, certain times, certain times, we need to actually get to deal with certain things first. And sorry, please can you come again with a question? So I'll not actually go out of lane. Thank you.
Okay, okay, sure. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, we can.
I don't, okay, I don't want what happened last time to happen again. So let me just take it slowly now.
Yeah.
From what we've shared so far, there are certain gaps, right? That
Yes.
that hinders collaboration between three of you, like product designers, managers, and developers, right? So what are the effective techniques that you think can bridge this gap? What do you think can help improve collaboration across these groups? Was that clear?
Okay, okay. I think this is actually similar to the previous question, which is actually me saying if we want to bridge this gap, we should actually let everybody know where their GC starts and where their GC stops. You get me? And if I should go further about bridging the gap or the hiccups between these people, we should spell out everybody's duties. Like there should be clarity in the information being shared. Some of the times designers design and developers say they cannot implement it. Maybe there's an imbalance between the skill set of the designers and the skill set of the developers. You get, I've been in teams, and when a designer implements a graph, the front end developer will tell her that I'm not going to do this thing or like before problem. But if there's understanding, the designer should actually get to understand the developer she's working with or he's working with and actually get to design things and scale them according to the skill set the company has. Yet it's not about creating fanciful design, it's also getting to create designs that are actually implementable. You get me? Not killing a dev because you actually want to show your skill set. You get me? So that's where empathy comes in, that's where clarity comes in. So if you're doing your job, you should understand if the next person that is actually going to be implementing this job is actually able to deliver it because in a team, it's more like a chain reaction. Anybody that doesn't deliver is actually going to affect everybody. So in this situation, I would urge that in anything we are working on, let us please and please have empathy. Let us understand the skill set of everybody we are working with. Let us not see somebody that doesn't have skills as inefficient. There are some people that are actually willing to put in the work, but they don't have the skill sets to actually deliver that. That doesn't mean they're actually lazy. I've taken up volunteer projects where at the long run I had to step out because me not delivering is not because I cannot be able to deliver, but because I had a whole lot at hand, and the team I'm working with didn't show empathy. They didn't understand that I also have other real-time jobs I'm working with, and they just don't want to understand. So rather than see myself as inefficient, I have to pull out and go fill up myself in some other places where my work would actually be appreciated and I'll be seen as efficient. So what I'm saying is this: in anything you're working with, show empathy, understand your devs, understand your designers. Designers, understand the developer you're working with. Don't create designs that are actually aesthetically beautiful but are unimplementable. Thank you very much.
Okay, Collins, thank you for sharing. Your last statement was funny, Sha. Thank you so much for sharing, Collins. So, Honey, can you hear me? I don't know if
Yes,
Honey can.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, so what do you think about Collins' reply? Do you think he's entirely right? Like, what are your views on it?
Yeah, yeah, I think I agree with you totally on this one. Well, it's speaking from a product management role because generally he has the experience, right? And he has actually worked in teams, so definitely he has, how will I put it? He has, what's the word for it again? So let's just say that he has taken care of, developers, designers, and he was giving some basic insight about it. So yeah, these are one of the core ways to actually do these things. Yes, and same thing as I've been saying also is, basic thing is just communication. No one man is an island. So whenever one person is stuck, you should always just come up and everything. And also the sympathy always lies there. Your designers, like designers, is supposed to, come with developers. Okay, this is what I'm doing, or this is what I'm thinking of doing. So you don't need to do like two works at you don't have to do work over and over again trying to implement something, and the guy says, "Oh, I can't do that," and you try to make something out of it again. So it should always be in sync. That's why the stand up is there and so many of those things is there. So yeah, we actually shed more light on all of those things. Hello, can you guys hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello.
I heard you. I heard you.
Yes, yes.
Okay, all right.
Like, okay. Paxel, are you there? Honey, I think you should take charge.
Okay. So basically, I think the whole not having a question now, so they're just trying to like freestyle it somehow. So now, generally this meeting or rather this DDS stuff, it's all about people trying to learn and we're trying to share our experiences and all of those things. So with all the questions that have been asked, we've been asked about to talk about our role, particularly we should talk about how to communicate, how to work effectively, and all of those things. So if those are the basic things I would have to ask, so I'm just saying. I think all of us should because we've been all saying something that's always been, intertwining with everything, and like we're just repeating the same thing. So I would just like to say, Collins, before Kaisola go, I need you guys to freestyle your thing and just say one or two words that you could say to anyone out there who is who is just coming in game, who is being in the game, and who's trying to be more productive. So at least they could actually learn something. Just it doesn't have to be related to your role, but career wise in tech or project management wise in tech and everything. So just one of that keywords. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, okay, I'm here. Thank you, Honey, for that. I was asking Queen Solar what she her views on what you and Collins shared.
So particularly speaking from the side of a product manager, I would say this. If there's something I've actually learned, I actually want to put it out there that I've been a product manager for less than a year, and I've actually been able to like put myself in the hot seat. When I started product manager, I started product management in HNG. So if I'm actually explaining to some people, I'll be like saying I'm like a person that actually went to look for a job at Zenith Bank. And on the first day being in Zenith Bank, I was made the bank manager. Then after 3 months, I came back to work as a gate man because HNG was actually the toughest product management role I've ever seen in my life. You get me? That's actually how I started. So since then, every other product management role I've taken up is quite easy. So why am I saying this? Irrespective of actually where you find yourself, one thing you need to do is actually to show empathy as a person. Please show empathy. I can't stop saying this. You are going to come across people that are going through hell. You're going to come across people that are actually facing a difficult time in their own personal lives, added to the role they're actually working with. Yes, you want to deliver a product, but please try to be understanding, try to be patient. It's actually very, very difficult. But if you don't actually balance this well, you end up delivering a product live and you would not have friends. You end up achieving great products, but not having great friends. So at the long run, we actually want to actually keep our friends and also have a good product. So please be patient with people, show empathy, be understanding, and also be kind. Everything should not actually be taken like a military zone. Just be very, very patient. That's actually what I would say as a product manager. So be patient, be kind, be understanding with people you're actually working with. Don't be strict. Just take it easy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Collins, for sharing. Thank you so much. So, Sola, any tips from you on how to strengthen collaboration across these groups, product designers, managers, and developers
Okay, yeah. I would be
generally?
speaking, I would definitely be speaking from the standpoint of a designer. Please, designers, let's try as much as possible to be open-minded. As designers, we can really, really be close-minded, and I'm really speaking from experience because over time I have learned to not be emotionally attached to my designs because there is this thought that we went through the process of research. We had to create design system before finally coming up with a design that actually makes sense. So we'll not be close-minded because we went through all this process. I mean, what could go wrong? We have our research and our designs are well research informed designs. So I mean, what could go wrong? But a lot could actually go wrong. Why? Because feedbacks and communication and getting the perspective of others in your design can actually help a lot, honestly. Even from product man, you would never know who would give you the best idea that you can probably improve on with research. You can never know. So when you want to foster good communication and great collaboration skills among your other team members, be open-minded towards when you get feedbacks, be open-minded. Don't think that feedbacks are directed towards your skills or towards your ability to to inform to make good design decisions. No, they are not. I don't think they are directly towards you. They are just trying to make sure that everything is in line with the organization goals or the general goals of the team. So when you're working with developers and product managers and probably marketers, be open-minded with them. Let them give you constructive feedbacks on your design. They will necessarily, what product managers will probably not do is tell you your alignment is this, your alignment is not this. What they would care about is implementation of designs and what a particular thing is supposed to do. If you have a button here, why is it there? If you have an input field that is not center aligned, like Colin said, can you defend your designs? Can you say, this is why I placed that button here, this is why this one is here, and this is how it will help the company, and this is how it will help the users in the long run. So when you be open-minded to feedbacks, designers, we can get in our own shell and just think that when people give us big feedback, it's directed towards the fact that we cannot design or we cannot sorry, they're basically trying to make sure that everybody is in alignment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Queen Sola, for sharing that with us and for the way you outlined everything, like step by step and all. So I'll just like to like first from what you shared, you mentioned with designers dealing with feedbacks and all, right? So when you started out, how did you deal with negative, like maybe feedbacks that you got that were not communicated the empathy, I would say, like feedbacks that were not communicated properly, maybe feedbacks that were painful to receive. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, Sha,
I
or you get
definitely,
those
I
kind
definitely
of
understand
uh,
you. There are some
so how were
feedbacks
you
that
able
will,
to deal with
okay,
that?
yeah, there are feedbacks that will come across to you like, should I rethink my decision of being a designer, or is design not just meant for me? It can be crazy out there with feedbacks. Honestly, there are some people that are not really constructive with their feedbacks. They don't know how to properly align feedbacks in a way that doesn't feel like you're attacking the person that did the design, and it's just that, okay, it's the design that you're trying to like give feedback to. So basically, it was very hard at first to receive feedbacks, I will not lie, because you would do designs and you would definitely feel like you have done the best, like it's your best design, honestly. And when you put it out there, especially Twitter, when you put it out there, you now see people saying, oh, your typography is up, your kinicon, your buttons are not wanting, or there's always something to say. And my advice would just be that take them as it comes and try to receive them as best as you can. Sorry, a minute.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that point. So Collins, like as a
So
product
I was
manager, right? You get
speaking, but
to
then you can continue. Did you hear me?
please go on. Yeah, you can go on, please.
Okay, so I was basically just trying to say that just receive them as they come and then try to like make sense of them. Try to see how they can help you improve your designs. Do not look at it like I mentioned it earlier. Do not look at it like they're trying to like come at you, because there are always better ways to do designs, honestly. Everybody would have different, you can give different designers the same brief and they will come up with different designs based on how each person understands the design. So there are different ways to implement designs. We definitely all know that. So don't look at it like your own solution or the way you have placed your button is not right, but just receive feedbacks like they are meant to help you improve your designs and make them better for users to use. They are not directly towards your person. I didn't handle feedback well when I started, but in the long run, I got to understand that feedbacks actually do help improve designs, because you would get to even see the perspective that you probably did not even look at before. That's why collaboration is really, really very essential in every team, because you would have like 3 or 5 designers in a team, and you might be the only person trying to implement a particular feature, and when you throw this design out to all the team members, they are now saying that, oh, I think you can actually improve by doing this, or you can improve by doing that, and you would see that the product would actually come out well, because it's a teamwork, it's a group of designers that came together to like um try to understand these things. And when there's this backlash that comes with a designer trying to give another designer a feedback, you might be feeling that, oh, that designer is thinking that you're not good enough, or you probably did not do the right thing. But usually it's not like that. I'm sure we have gotten to understand that feedbacks are important, whether it's within designers ourselves or outside the scope of being of designers, which is from product managers to developers. So feedbacks is what we basically feed on as designers. It's the best thing for designers, honestly, is what we feed on. And during the long run in your career, you would get to understand the importance, and you will not even have an issue with it again when they give you feedback. You just see it as a way to improve your designs and get better ideas on the solution you're trying to build. Thank you. Excels, I'm done now.
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
Thanks
Yeah,
for sharing. Oh, Pexas, you're back, right?
yeah, thank you, Sola, for sharing that. Honey, what are your last words, first group? We are trying to round up now, so like any, yeah. So I was saying thank you, Sola, for sharing that. So what are your last words, Annie? Like since we are trying to round up and all. So I'd like you to share your last tips on successful collaboration between product managers, designers, and developers. And then Collins will share his. And if anyone has any question, please don't hesitate to type it in the message section or use the hand raise icon.
All right. So before I answer the question, all right, I just want to let you guys know. Okay, this is not like your regular Twitter spaces that will say come and grab the mic and all of those things. So generally, you don't even need to unmute yourself. You could just ask your questions because I'm very sure there's so many questions out there that you guys would like to, listen to, or you guys would like to hear, and we are not touching it. We might not be able to touch at every problem or every question that you guys would have in mind. So the way we can actually connect and the way you can, there are over like 20 people over here, over 20 people. And the only way you can actually pick out something that you want to learn yourself is by you asking that question. So I would really, really say that go ahead and type something in that box. Okay, so that's for that. So well, my takeout on this is that also, yeah, I also did HNG, and well, it was really, really amazing. So for me, my last words for anyone is both people who are just coming in, people who are, call themselves baby devs, junior devs, and all of those things. That I tell you, even at any point, even the senior devs that you guys are saying, they will still go research and everything. What I'm trying to say is that no one man is an island. All right. Even ChatGPT will still give you wrong code. He will still give you beans to cook in your repo or whatever you're doing. So the way you actually have to grow is by getting your hands dirty and also talking to people, connect with people. I tried doing all on my own, and in 1 year I haven't done anything, and just HNG just shifted my career like differently and all of that. So I won't really talk about because we've actually spent a lot of time, but just what I want to say is that reach out to people, get your hands dirty, involve yourself in teams, like, work in open times projects. And you don't, for now, I know everyone is actually hustling and trying to get ends meet. It's not quite bad for you to join a startup who is actually not going to even give you anything for now. Like, it's not going to pay you anything. It's going to help you. It's going to, when you see other people code base, it will help you structure your own. Like, you guys will not believe that I went to an interview and they asked me, what is the folder, what's the architecture I'm using for my front end dev? And me, in all these years of programming, I was like so mute, I couldn't say anything. And I'm just saying all of this because it's going to really, really help us. And yeah, we're going to learn from all of this things. So, well, I've been expecting questions, no questions yet, but well, those are the last ones for me anyway.
Okay, thank you for that, Hani. Hopefully, before we round up, they'll get to like the audience will get to ask questions. So, okay, I can see Ayobami's hand raised, but Ayo, before I let you ask your question, I would want Collins to share his thoughts on like tips, like general tips and his thoughts generally just on strengthening collaboration between product managers and developers and designers. I know he already like mentioned something in that regards, like he mentioned empathy and oh, I just like to get a general conclusion from Collins.
Okay. Thank you very much for that question. So, I think there's actually one question we are actually missing out, which is actually, I think it's something leadership or something. So, for me personally, I think for we to establish this, we need to work with a shared view of what is to be established. When working with a team, we should not work with them in a way that they're actually feeling like someone is actually bossing them, but we should work with them so that they will have a clear understanding of what they're actually working on and the intent that is to be delivered. You get me? So, for we to establish this, we need to have just not just in the workspace relationship, but we also need to have outside the workspace relationship with the people we are working with. We need to check up on them. We need to establish this close ties with them, so we can be able to understand their situation. Yes, some people may take advantage of this, but that's that for that. But please and please try to show empathy, try to show understanding, try to be patient with people. Like, it is not actually easy for anybody. Don't end up building great products and losing great friends. That's actually one thing I've actually wrapped my head around. So for we to do this, we should be patient, we should be understanding, and we should be collaborative with everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Collins, for sharing that. So we've gotten the general conclusion from our panelists, Coin Solar, Collins, and Hani, and they've shared with us in depth on how ways we can strengthen collaboration across different fields of product design, product management, and development. And Hani earlier explained to us the different aspects of development, right? They also like address the issues that are prevalent in these fields, and most of it was just centered on communication, which is a sign to us that communication is very, very important across um various fields, right? So now we'll be moving over to the questions segment from the audience. Yeah, so does anyone have any question regards the topic, or if there's something you've always been curious about in front end development, product management, and product design, you can go ahead to ask your question. Do we have any questions like that? Does anyone have any question to ask? Ori, I can see your hand. You can go ahead, please. Bori, you can go ahead to ask your question. I guess you were raising your hand,
Yeah,
right?
can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? Hello, hello.
Yeah,
Yes, we
bro, we
can.
can hear
Yes, we
you.
can.
Just continue.
Oh, okay, all right, cool. Okay, cool. Okay, so
Yeah,
first
we
things
can
first,
hear
before I
you.
ask my question. Okay, yeah, okay, fine, that's good. Okay, first before I ask my question, I first want to say big ups to the HNG panelists. Actually one of, I was actually like, I interned with HNG too. Like, I think early last year or late last year rather. So big ups to you guys. Uh, I have a question, but it's tailored towards the product design role and all of that. So I'm looking to break into product design fully. I have broken into product design. I've actually been working on a couple of things myself, but there's a thing about niche, and it's kind of giving me the double mind because there's health tech, there's finance, there's education, there's like so many, like a lot of niche to cover. And I don't know, I feel like as a designer, let me say in Nigeria, I don't know if picking one niche be will help me in the long run, in the sense that should I work on being a specialist or I should work on being a generalist? So that's like basically my question. Like, what suggestion would you give? I'm directing the question to the product design panelist. I think Coinsala also. So that's my question. I hope you understood what I said. I can say it again.
I am
You don't.
actually trying to understand your question. Can you like come again?
Okay, all right. So I'm saying as a designer who wants to like really put himself out there, okay, I want to know if picking one niche would help me in the long run, or me just like doing everything so that once this in my CV or once this in my resume, you know, that, okay, this guy can do this, can do that, can do all of that. So like, I want to know if picking one niche will help me, or I should just try and diversify into like every single aspect of design. That can be education, it can be
Okay, so I think I get
finance,
what you're saying. Trying
stuff
to
like
say
that.
that
So I
should
want to
you
know if
focus?
picking one niche will help me.
Okay, so you're trying to say if you
Sorry?
should focus on doing focusing on fintechs, um edtech, or just focusing on one particular industry. Is that your question?
Yeah, that's my question. Yes, yes. I want to know if I should focus on one industry or try
No,
everything and
I honestly do
just
not think
get good
you
enough.
I honestly do not think you should cramp yourself around one industry because product design ever honestly, and having to cramp yourself in one industry will not be a very good idea. Tomorrow you can get an opportunity in fintech, and you would say because you did not design or you don't have anything in your portfolio that says you can design in edtech. So basically what I think is you should have a diverse portfolio, a portfolio that cut across different niche that you want. Just let whoever is coming into your portfolio understand that you can do all these things. Probably design for web, design for mobile, design in edtech, design in fintech. Just do as many. I'm not saying you should overcrowd your portfolio. It should definitely be the solid projects that you have worked on, yes, but make sure that your portfolio is as diverse as possible. I do hope I answered your question, and happy to hear that you were at HNG too. Yes. Yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, yes, you did. Yes, you did. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You are welcome. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Queen Sola, for answering that question. Thank you so much. So Joshua is asked what job. So Joshua, that's your like land your first job as a designer or developer or product manager. Like, can you be clear on the question, please? Is Joshua here? Okay, he said UI UX designer. So this question should be for Coin Solar. So what tips can you give Joshua to land his first job as a UI UX designer?
Hmm. Honestly, landing your first job is crazy. It's really crazy out there in the job market because
Coin Solar, did you get my question, please?
yes, I
Was I
did. Can
audible?
you hear me? Can you hear me, please? Hello. Can you
Yes,
guys
we
hear
can.
me? Okay. Basically, to answer that question of how to land your first job, the job market is really crazy because of the competition out there. What I will just tell you is continue to apply and make sure that when you are applying, it is you are applying based off your experience level. So if you're somebody that you're just looking for an entry role in design, or you're looking for internship or a junior design role, don't go and apply for mid or senior level. Just try to niche down and focus on your experience level and continue to like apply. There's no stopping when you're trying to apply for a job. You just have to continue. You don't know when that opportunity might come in. It's not easy, honestly, to continue to apply, but you just have to be consistent and stay with it. I do hope I answered that question.
Joshua, did that answer your question? Please, are you here? Was Queen Sola able to answer you? Okay. He said yes. Okay. He said you answered this question perfectly well. So thank you, Queen Sola, for that. Bori, you said you have one more question to ask, right? You can go ahead.
This question is like towards the product manager. So like I'm asking my question is, have you like ever worked with like a QA tester or software tester, and how important like would you say their role is to you as a product manager? That's to I think Akpaka, that's the product manager panelist. So that's my question. I don't know if you understand me.
Okay.
Um
Yes.
Hey,
Okay. So for the QA team is super important, but typically you may not find them in actually very little organization or smaller startups. So what are the QA team does? The QA team is actually the team that makes sure that the products actually meet its acceptance criteria. You get me? So they are out there testing and making sure that what was done is actually what needs to be out there. You get me? And it actually meets the required specifics. You get me? So if if I actually don't know how to put this, but basically they actually those actually make sure that any product that actually delivered, but or code that is actually pushed meets the standards or actually meets the quality that should the organization sets for it to be said, this thing meets an acceptance criteria or this thing meets the target that is needed for it to be satisfied as done. You get me? So for a task to be seen as done, or for a role to be or task given to be seen as done, it needs to satisfy certain metrics, which is the acceptance criteria. So the QA team is actually the team that will actually go test um, whatever was done or implemented by the developers to make sure that it meets the acceptance criteria. So if it meets the acceptance criteria, it can be seen as done. If it doesn't meet it, it will be taken back to the backlog and they will get to work on it again. Thank you.
all right.
thank
Thank
you
thank
for
you very much.
sharing that,
Thank you very
Colin.
much. Thank you. And thank you, Priscilla, again for your for answering me.
Okay, so thank you, Collins, for answering that. Bori, that was clear enough. You already attested to that. So thank you so much, Collins, Hani, and Coin Solar. So thank you so much for doing that. And I also want to thank everyone that attended this section. Before I go further, can you guys hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So thank you to everyone that attended this session. We are so happy to have you here. So on that note, I would just want us to rather to appreciate our panelists in a spectacular way by dropping as many emojis as we can. Please let's celebrate them. They did really, really well.